In the autumn of 1817, the farm settled into silence beneath a moon the color of bone. The fields of corn whispered together as if trading secrets not meant for human ears. Inside the cabin, the Bell family tried to sleep while the wind scratched along the walls like curious fingers. John Bell turned in his bed and told himself the land was simply restless tonight. Yet the dogs would not lie down, and the horses trembled in their stalls as though something unseen walked between them. A knock sounded at the door, slow and deliberate, neither loud nor soft, but certain. John rose with a lantern and opened the door to find only darkness waiting patiently on the threshold. He stepped outside, felt the cold earth, listened to the insects holding their breath, and called out. No answer came. Yet the feeling of being heard pressed against him like a held palm. When he returned to bed, the knock came again. This time from the wall beside his head, then another from beneath the floor, and another from the roof above. The house became a drum played by invisible hands. His wife Lucy whispered prayers that tangled in her throat. Their daughter Betsy pulled the blankets to her chin and swore she heard someone breathing beside her ear. John demanded the intruder show itself, his voice braver than the fear clawing his ribs. Laughter fluttered through the room, thin and amused, belonging to no mouth they could see. The lantern went out, not blown, not dimmed, but taken. In the blind dark, a whisper curled around them all, promising that the night had finally learned their names. Morning arrived pale and dishonest, pretending nothing had happened. The family moved through chores with eyes that avoided the corners of rooms. Betsy tried to hum while she worked, but the melody kept breaking apart like ice in warm water. At supper, the first word came, clear as if spoken across the table. I am here. The voice carried age and patience, dry as leaves dragged across a grave. Lucy dropped her fork and John rose so quickly his chair struck the wall. Show yourself, he ordered, though already he feared obedience. A faint chuckle drifted from the ceiling beams. Then from the fireplace, then from the empty hallway. I have always been shown, the voice replied. You are the ones who refused to see. Neighbors were called. Men with rifles and courage borrowed from one another. They searched the rooms, the yard, the barn, finding no footprints but their own. When they gathered to leave, the voice followed them to the door and thanked them for visiting. One man swore he felt lips brush his ear. Another claimed something tugged his hair like a playful child. Betsy was not touched playfully. At night, her blankets ripped away. Her braids yanked until she cried out. Why her? Lucy begged. What has she done? The reply slid gently through the dark. I favor her company. John felt helpless rage bloom in him, useless as a wooden sword against a storm. From that evening on, the voice began to sing hymns before twisting them into mockery. It knew scripture, secrets, and the private doubts each of them buried from the others. Sleep became a visitor who no longer stopped by. Weeks passed, and the haunting ripened into spectacle. Travelers arrived, hoping to witness the marvel whispered about across the countryside. They filled the cabin, waiting with a thrill that shamefully resembled excitement. The voice obliged them, speaking from walls, from shadows, from the spaces. Between heartbeats, it called itself Kate, then denied the name, then laughed at the need for any name at all. John Bell tried to reclaim authority over his home, yet each command he gave seemed rehearsed for the witch's amusement. She recited sermons better than the preachers, argued politics, sang lullabies that made infants wail. When asked her purpose, she answered with riddles that settled like dust and choked the air. To witness, she said, to punish, to remain. Betsy grew thin, her eyes learning distances no child should measure. At times the witch stroked her hair with invisible tenderness. At others she struck with spite. Lucy's prayers turned desperate. Bargains offered to a silence that refused mercy. One night the voice spoke softly to John, "Alone, I will finish what has begun." He demanded to know what ending she imagined. The reply came almost kindly, "The one you fear most." After that, John felt watched even by daylight. The fields no longer belonged to him. The trees leaned closer, listening. Every step he took seemed already predicted, already remembered. Asterisk, in December of 1820, John Bell failed to rise from his bed. A heaviness pinned him. As though the air had thickened into water, the family gathered, their hope fragile as frost on glass. From the corner came the voice, bright with triumph. "I gave him a dose last night." A small vial appeared upon the mantel, dark liquid catching the morning like an eye. No one claimed to have placed it there. Lucy wept while Betsy stared, caught between terror and recognition. When John finally slipped away, the witch broke into wild celebration. She sang, she laughed, she shouted her victory to the rafters. Neighbors said they heard it from the road and hurried past without stopping. The burial brought quiet, but it was the quiet of something merely resting. Kate promised she would return in years to come, as certain as seasons. Then her voice thinned, drifting across the fields, folding itself into memory. Yet the family never trusted the silence she left behind. At night the wind still rehearsed her laughter. Floorboards remembered the rhythm of unseen steps, and sometimes, just before sleep, Betsy felt breath hover near her ear, waiting.